So you have this pipeline business happening, and at the same time, while you have these pipelines exploding and the media is not covering it, nothing's being done, you have the Trump administration wants to make it easier to release methane into the air, which, by the way, contrary to the public relations that you hear, is carbon dioxide. But they say, oh, this natural gas is a cleaner energy. It's cleaner. No, it is not. Methane is shown to be way worse. I mean, not that carbon dioxide is good, but methane is worse. But now Trump, in his wisdom, which, again, he's bought off just like the rest of them, wants to make it easier for these fossil fuel companies to basically just soak your air and water with methane. This is from the New York Times. Trump administration, taking its third major step this year to roll back federal efforts to fight climate change, is preparing to make it significantly easier for energy companies to release methane into the atmosphere. Methane, which is among the most powerful greenhouse gases, routinely leaks from oil and gas wells, and energy companies have long said that the rules requiring them to test for emissions were costly and burdensome. Let's not burden the oil companies. The EPA, perhaps as soon as this week, plans to make a public proposal to weaken an Obama-era requirement that companies monitor and repair methane leaks, according to documents reviewed by the Times. In a related move, the Interior Department is also expected in coming days to release its final version of a draft rule proposed in February that essentially repeals a restriction on the intentional venting and flaring or burning of methane from drilling operations. So, basically, President Trump in Donald Trump's America, in the EPA, if methane leaks, if you want to repair it, feel free. If you don't want to repair it, don't worry about it. We don't want to burden you. We bow to the oil companies. We bow to the fossil fuel companies. So if there's an explosion or methane leaks, which, by the way, there's leaks in pipelines that aren't reported every single day. Most of the leaks that happen in the pipelines all over this country are not reported. And the ones that are always underreported and underestimated how many gallons actually leaked. So does this sound like, this is insanity. You're trying to make it so that oil companies and fossil fuel companies don't have to repair leaks? So if they don't have to repair leaks, what's next? What is next? Are you going to say they don't have to clean up spills? That's just the price of doing business? In what way is it environmentally sound that these companies don't have to repair leaks? If you don't repair leaks, they're going to happen more often and with more force. I'm telling you, it's insane. Next is going to be, well, if it spills, we as the EPA likes to say, we advise you to clean it up. But
did you hear about what Trump did today?
You mean what I'm reporting on right now?
Oh, that's what
yeah.
Right?
Good listening. That's why we pay Ty the big bucks. He said, did you hear what Trump did today? You mean what I'm talking about right now? So, unbelievable. So,
I'm working.
Yeah, you're working. So, I got to say, folks, I don't call for armed revolution. I want to be clear. No arms. No violence. But this is essentially, we had thousands and thousands of people in the streets against guns. I don't think it was enough. Against gun control, against these mass shootings. This is a huge threat. And this administration, which I've openly said, I underestimated how bad Trump was on the environment. I don't think Hillary Clinton would have been great, but I have to just call it like I see it. I think she would have been better. I don't think she would have done this. I don't think she would have done these. I think she would have been in bed with fracking and fossil fuel companies, but I don't think to this severity. On that, I have to give it to her. I don't think. But it's absolutely insane. It not only endangers our water, it not only endangers our air, but it makes it so these explosions will happen more consistently and be bigger and bigger, endangering more and more people. People's homes are being destroyed. People are being shuffled out of their homes in the dusk of the morning due to explosions. No one should have to live in their home worrying about if there's going to be an explosion. And if there is, what kind of sane system says you don't have to fix it? You don't have to repair leaks. I'm telling you, record this, because next they're going to say, well, if you spill in water bodies, if you spill on wildlife, it would be nice if you clean it up, but we don't want to burden you. It's time for a revolution. No arms, but it is time for people in the streets, people outside these oil companies and fossil fuel company buildings, and people outside the White House. Because let me tell you something. As you see this extreme weather coming, because both parties haven't done enough on climate change, more so the Republican Party, we're going to see more and more explosions. We're going to see more and more spills in more and more critical water bodies. And who will be hurt the most by this? Indigenous people, rural Americans who don't live in busy, bustling cities, farmers, wildlife, and water. Really, really shameful. And if the Democratic Party had half a brain, instead of, foaming at the mouth about Russia, they'd be explaining to voters, you are literally in danger because of this EPA and this president. That's actually a message that a lot of people will be attracted to, because you want to know something. It's not exactly a partisan issue if your house is at risk of explosion. And as I've reported on the ground, you know who's against these pipelines? Oftentimes equally, conservative ranchers and Republicans who are having their homes and land seized by eminent domain. So there is a political coalition between tree-hugging progressives against these pipelines and Dick Cheney, cowboy-wearing conservatives. I know because I've done some interviews with those types of conservatives on their land in West Texas.